brings blood to the kidneys? Renal artery. So here's the renal artery. It's entering into the kidneys at this region, which is the hilum or the hilum, right? Note how it branches. Even before it enters, it branches. These branches are segmental arteries. Take out your lab handout, you'll find these written in sequence, and you would know which ones we are talking about. I know we have to make some corrections in that page. The arrows just keep popping up without any clicks or... Okay, so renal artery, segmental arteries. Now what were these triangular structures? Pyramids, renal pyramids. What is this region in between the pyramids? Renal columns. So now the segmental arteries branch, and their branches enter into the renal columns. These branches are called the interlobar arteries, right? Because these, you could consider these as being lobes, even though they are called pyramids. So in between the lobes are the lobar arteries. Lobar arteries go more toward this part of the kidney. What is this part of the kidney? The cortex. They go across or run toward the cortex, and then they form an arc over the renal pyramid. See this curved region here? This curved part of the red blood vessels? Since they're arcing, these are called the arcuate arteries. The next one, arcuate arteries. They arc over, what does it say? Over the base of the renal pyramids at the corticomedullary boundary. So here's the cortex, here's the medulla at this boundary. Then there are branches that go perpendicularly from there and extend into the cortex. You see the red ones here? Those are called the cortical radiate arteries, because you could remember that name maybe better than interlobular, because they're kind of radiating into the cortex. So cortical radiate arteries. The cortical radiate arteries, so let's come over to this one here. What artery would this be? The red one here, what would that be? Interlobar. And then you see the arced one, that's the arcuate. And then you see this one going up into radiating into the cortex, that's the cortical radiate, and cortical radiate gives rise to efferent arteriole, which forms the glomerulus. Here's the efferent arteriole, the glomerulus, and the efferent. So the efferent arteriole comes out. Let's follow this side maybe. Here the efferent arteriole comes out, and it forms the second capillary bed. We've mentioned it there, but I didn't really drive home the point that here, this efferent arteriole, we did talk about the efferent forming a capillary network and giving rise to the efferent, but the efferent that comes out gives rise to a second capillary network. See this? This second capillary network is the peritubular capillaries. Right? So these are in the form of a network, but look at this one going down. Like I said, we have peritubular capillaries and we have vasa recta. So look at these ones going straight down. Those are the vasa recta. So peritubular capillaries, vasa recta. Now from vasa recta, what happens? The blood starts to return, and it's going to follow exactly the same path. So here, look at this here, the vasa recta, the peritubular capillaries are now leading into the venules, and those lead into this vein. What would that be now called? Interlobular vein. The interlobular vein leads into the arcuate vein. The arcuate vein leads into interlobar veins. There are no segmental veins. The interlobar veins go directly into the renal vein. Right? So interlobular, arcuate, interlobar, and renal vein. Alright, so blood gets into the kidneys from the medial side, and it has to travel all the way across to the lateral sides of the kidney where the cortex is. And why do you think it has to go across the kidneys completely? Get to the nephrons, right? Here are the nephrons. What do you think these dots represent? The renal corpuscles. And so that is what, and I mentioned it last time, that's what gives the cortex a granular appearance. And the presence of all these tubules in the pyramids gives that a striped or striated appearance. All right, what else do we have from the module, guys, or from the lab handout? Now you have to ask questions.